This is Road to the Golden Door, where we unpack the proven success formula straight from the minds of Golden Door winners, uncovering the motivation, methods, and the mindset it takes to become an elite performer in door-to-door sales and in life. This is Road to the Golden Door. Now, here's your host, Mikey Lucas.
What's up? Welcome back to the show. We got another good one here, guys. Super excited about this one. So the guest today has been knocking doors for the last 4 years. So he's going on year 4. He's out in Florida, where all the storms are at this year. And in the midst of that major hurricane, the kid was able to pull out a freaking golden door. So super excited to be able to interview this kid. Followed him for the last year now. And I'm excited to pick his brain. He's like I said, he's out of Florida. He's working for Synergy Solar. And he had 133 installs. I believe it was right around just north of 180 sales. It's got a 72% pull-through rate, which is outstanding. Just under 1,500 kilowatts installed. So Jameson Bennett, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Mikey. Glad to be here.
Looking forward to it, man. Yeah, I had your boy Josh on the show not that long ago, and that kid is a stud. So he talked a lot about you, and I'm excited to he said you're a huge motivation for him, so I'm excited to see what that was and what that really means, because if the kid can come in off of his first year, hit a golden door, and he's following somebody like you, clearly there's some good traits there for you.
I was going to say, Josh, he's that motivation for me as well. This is his first year in the industry, and he's already hitting those numbers. So in reality, he's the inspiration for me. And I'm really excited to have him in the company and see where he will take his goals and dreams.
100%. All right. So let's jump right in. For everybody that doesn't know Jameson Bennett, who is Jameson Bennett?
Yeah, so my name is Jameson. I'm from a small town in Syracuse, Nebraska, close to Lincoln. And I grew up there. I went on my mission to Mexico. That's where I met my wife. Went to BYU afterwards and got my degree in experience design and management. And now, kind of during my senior year of college, that's when I discovered Synergy and I discovered solar sales. My brother brought me on. He was one of the original setters in the company. And it was an accident that I came into this company because I went down to Florida. Me and my wife subleased our apartment in Provo to come drive down 36 hours to Orlando, Florida to do an internship for my program that I needed for school, but it turned out to be a scam. They marketed it as a marketing internship, but it was actually selling cell phone lines for Sprint and T-Mobile, and all of that wearing professional attire, walking in the sun, 100-degree weather. I'm like, no way am I doing this. So luckily, my brother was working with his team only about 15 minutes away. And then that's when I was able to still do my internship remotely with a company back in Utah. Got that requirement finished up for my program. And then in the afternoon, that's when I started setting for Synergy. So it ended up being the biggest blessing that I never thought I would need. And I've been doing this now full time for 2 years, and I've loved every minute, but also have had some pretty difficult moments as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about here on this podcast.
Yeah. Appreciate you sharing that. I don't understand what program in college they mandate you have I'm a college dropout, so I didn't get that far to do the whole finish your degree and you have to do an internship. You got, what was the degree that you explain that to me real quick? Everyone that's listening
Yeah,
is like, Mike, you're an idiot. You have no idea what he's talking about. I'm clueless. Teach me really quick.
it's called Experience Design and Management. It's a fairly new major coming up in just only a few universities, but it's all about learning how to create, manage, and deliver experience journeys. And so it has everything to do with, yeah, creating a design, managing that design, and creating an exceptional experience for the end user. And in a lot of ways, I'm still able to use that in what I'm doing now in sales. And this year, getting into managing, I'm moving more into the employee experience. But this last year, just going hard with getting a golden door. That was all about the customer experience. People pay more for experiences, and so that's what that major taught me.
Yeah, I think the customer, the client or customer ambiance is probably the most important, which is also known as customer experience, is the most important part of the sale. I think that's a very again, this is not a sales podcast, but that's a very missed portion of the sale, is the experience of the client. And I think people just forget that. I also think that they think that everything should go 100% perfect or the customer is going to cancel. And that's obviously not true. So I think it's an interesting conversation that I'm sure you and I will have, because I'm very big into that. That's why I became 53% referral, is because I was selling an experience to my homeowners. So the same thing with my coaching clients, the same thing with my investors. It is an experience. And, it's when you have that ambiance, like, wow, I feel like I'm a part of something. It's the same thing. I actually learned it. First of all, I learned that at In-N-Out Burger. And then I learned it at Solar City Tesla Energy, where, you were a part of a movement. Like when you ate that In-N-Out Burger, it was like you're a part of a movement, an In-N-Out Burger movement, whatever, right? Like, it's funny. I haven't worked there for over 12 years, something like that. But in the airport the other day, I was in where was I at? I was in Seattle, and they don't have In-N-Out Burgers in Seattle, so I don't know where this lady was from. But there was 3 girls, and they were all wearing the same. My wife was on her bachelorette party thing. And there was 3 girls. So I was noticing like bachelorette. I don't know. It's just top of mind. So I noticed these 3 girls wearing the exact same shirts, and one of them was wearing In-N-Out Burger socks. And it's just like funny how somebody bought those socks because it's like McDonald's socks, right? Like somebody bought In-N-Out Burger socks and rocks the socks. Like it's something like a fashion statement. Like I eat In-N-Out. Like I don't eat Five Guys. I eat In-N-Out, right? Or I don't eat Smash Burger. I'm an In-N-Out guy, whatever, right? So I don't know. I think it's funny. I definitely know we'll jam on that. That's exciting. So I appreciate you sharing that.
No problem.
So tell me a little bit. So you've been with one company, Sunergy.
Yep.
Now tell me, like, the honest opinion. The owners obviously are going to watch this, I'm assuming. But tell me, like, your honest opinion. What actually was your experience? Because it's kind of like, you've been with one girl your whole life, right? Which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying in general, like, what's your experience? I'm sure you get hit up all the time. Like, I still get hit up all the time. Like, hey, we're looking for setters and closers. Do you want to come work for us? And I'm like, do you know who you just text, bro? Do you know who you just DM'd? It's Mikey Lucas, bro. What are you talking about? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, dude. But what's been your experience at Sunergy? Tell me the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. So I started out with this company when there was 7 setters and 3 closers. And so I came into it more in this very intimate group and very close knit and family oriented, and everybody supports everybody. And I feel like Sunergy now has quadrupled its growth since then in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's been really awesome to see how they've carried over those same values, same principles from when we were a team of 10, 11 people up until now that we're over 300. So it's been really cool to see that they're all about like creating unity and creating that culture that people are very supportive of one another. Nobody's like getting jealous of people and then getting upset when they're not doing what they want to be, but we're all lifting each other up. And so I haven't had really a bad experience with Synergy, and just that it is a very close knit family, and that's the same thing that I want to accomplish with my own family, and that's what I'm working to do every single day. And so I resonated a lot with the company and its values, its morals, and has a lot of things that I want to replicate in my own family.
I love that. Is it Synergy Solar? Synergy Solutions? I'm trying to find it on the internet.
Synergy Solar.
Nice. Perfect. Got it. How long has it been around?
So company's been around for 18 years now, based out of Florida.
Nice. What were they doing before? Was it like water solar before as well, or were they always doing photovoltaic?
Always photovoltaic. First, we started out as a Salesforce company, and then we merged with Synergy, who was an installer, and so now we rebranded under that brand, Synergy. And so awesome. The install side has been doing this now for 18 plus years. But I feel like it was a very strategic partnership with the Salesforce, and it's been really cool to see. Just the combination of both companies has really allowed us to start escalating our growth, and now we're expanding out into other states outside of Florida.
Where at right now? Are you guys going to come to Texas or where?
Yeah, Texas, Colorado, also Arkansas right now, but nice. More states in the future.
Is there like a core values you guys generally have go over? Or do you guys go over? Is core values something that's really big to Synergy, or is that not really like to?
Yeah, I think we don't really like go over it, but I think one of the core values that it's just embedded in the culture, but the culture that we're trying to create is that, yes, we want you to reach your financial goals, but we also want you to be a better person and build your character, learn leadership traits, like read books throughout the summer, help you be a better leader, be a better person, just an overall better person in your community and for yourself. And so that culture is what Synergy is trying to build, which I think is awesome as well.
I love that. Yeah, I one of the big things when I had my companies was we weren't a solar company, we weren't a smart home company, we were a personal development company that just so happened to sell smart home products. So we were really big on personal development. Monday's whole meeting was on personal development. Monday and Tuesday meetings were on personal development for the different offices. And then the Wednesday or Thursday or Friday meetings were all on sales stuff. So yeah, we were really big into personal development, and that's something that Josh also talked about. Josh Earl talked about a lot. So that's pretty excited. So I'm excited about that, and to see Synergy grow. I know that with how many you had? What, 4 Golden Door guys?
5 actually.
5. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I miscounted you. No, I'm just kidding. You guys had 5 Golden Door Award winners. Tell me about that. Was everybody in one office together in the same office, or was everyone split up? Where was all the 5 at? Were they in one office, split up? Where was it at?
So we're split up into different regions, and there's offices along the west coast of Florida, also along the east coast of Florida, and it was 3 on the west coast, and 2 of us were on the east coast.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's like when you have a company that has 5 Golden Door guys, or Golden Door Award winners, that's a good sign, right? And it's not like it's not like you're in Texas where it's like 3-day installs. Florida still is, 30 to 40 day installs, 50-day installs, and you're still getting those in with 5 different guys. It's a really good system. So what is the what's the strategy you guys take? I guess how do you best get how are you guys setter closer model? Are you guys self-gen model? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, setter closer model. If setters want to advance to closing, they have to prove themselves by setting a certain metric of self-gens in order for us to trust them with going to company leads and to go and close a setter's appointment. And so they have to hit 10 self-gen deals before they can close. They also have to be a top setter in the company. They have to recruit, bring guys under them to build, to create leads for them to go to. So it does take some work to become a closer, but once you get there, you get very well compensated for it.
I like that it's performance based or incentivized. I don't think that companies do very well when you're kind of just like, yeah, who wants to be a closer? Who wants to make double the amount of money or whatever, right? And everyone's like, yeah, me. I don't know. I don't think it's fair to the individuals that are closers or even to the setters that it's almost like, how many of you guys don't believe in yourself? Obviously everyone's gonna be like, yeah, I believe in myself. I can do it. I think I can. But the competency is the confidence is there, but the competency a lot of times is not there. And I think, if you want to fail, Jameson, go fail on your own 10 deals.
Exactly.
And obviously they're not going 10 for 10. They're going 10 for, 30, 40, right? Do they ever split deals? Are you guys ever doing like split deals with people at that point too? When a setter wants to go to a closer, are some of your guys like helping go to deals with them to help them close down? Like you're going to watch me close. And then, maybe if I have to jump in, Jameson, you'll help me.
Yeah. So usually the first time, like there's usually 1 or 2 appointments that will shadow people to in their first few deals. And first few deals, like we'll have them do a portion of the presentation, and then the second one they'll do the entire presentation, and then go through the whole entire process to the presenting, to the documents, and getting them all squared away with the site survey. But so that way we can get them off their feet, independent, and then they can just go out and grind, do their thing, get their 10 self-gens in. So by the time all the setters come out for the summer, they're already completed with their 10 self-gens and they're ready to take on deals and just go hard for the summer.
Right. Yeah, that's very, very common, very typical. So that's good. Question on that then. What's like because I know that you're getting into management now. So does Synergy have a process where it's like, hey, a lot of times I was in the companies that I coach right now. That's really why they fail. A lot of companies are failing or they have such high turnover, like 2 out of 10 guys make it kind of thing, past 6 months. And it's because there's no process. So now that you're managing offices, things like that, and obviously now we're going into rep experience, so we can stick on this rep experience portion. And I want to jam with you on that. And if you can tell me, and again, this is kind of, I can go back and forth if you want to kind of know what I do and stuff like that. But I kind of want to know what you're already doing or what you plan on doing to retain guys. I think that's one of the biggest issues we have in the industry is we don't have really plans to retain. We just think throw money at recruiting, throw big events, get 17 people in, and then 30 go out the back door, or more, 50 go out the back door. So it's like, we're not really retaining people. So since your degree, and you graduated, correct?
Yes.
Experiential, what is it called?
Design and management.
Experiential design and management. Sorry, I think it's not funny, but it's funny because there's like all these degrees out there that are basically worthless. And it's funny because I think your experiential design degree actually is going to work.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
so
I
tell me,
agree.
yeah, it actually will. So, so you actually use it in your life, instead of like underwater basket weaving or like women's studies or whatever. I was like, dude, I'm going to go to college for women's studies and meet my wife. Yeah, it didn't work out.
Is that what you studied?
No, that's why I dropped out. No, I'm kidding. No, it
No.
was an elective. I studied econ. So originally, actually,
Nice.
to be clear, I studied theater and fire science my first year. I was going to go be a
Hmm.
firefighter because obviously, if you're going to be a firefighter, you need fire science, right?
Yeah.
No, that's like, I don't know who told me that, but that's the most outrageous thing. You do not. It's like if you go to get fire science, if you're like, I have a fire science degree, and you're talking to the captain, he's not probably going to, but he will laugh at you. It's better actually for you to have like a business degree, accounting degree, economics degree, something like that, because then you can actually help, culinary degrees. That way you can help at the office rather than just a bunch of fire science degree. In other words, you're going to come in and tell everybody how they're wrong about how they do everything at the station. So, anyways, I studied fire science and I did theater. I really thought I was going to be a star, have the lights on me, and that's why I got into door-to-door sales.
That's
One of the reasons
awesome.
why I got into door-to-door sales is because I was always told that I was going to be some sort of a star, movie star, whatever, and speak, anyways, have some sort of a movie or whatever, and a show, and I do now, which is funny because it's like, I don't know, you grow up and everyone tells you, oh, Mikey, you're this and you're this and this, and I don't know why, but for some reason, like I didn't believe them, and it's funny now that I believe what my parents, what my uncles and aunts and cousins all said about me back then. I talk about it now, and people are like, "Oh, you're a prideful, arrogant prick. All you think about is yourself." And I go, "What the heck, dude?" But if I was 12 years old, you'd be like, "Yeah, I want to be a rock star. Oh, little Jimmy wants to be a rock star. Good for him. Go for it, little Mike." It's like, but now that I want to be a rock star, they're like, "Whoa, there, buddy, chill out." And you got to have a plan B. So no plan B for Mikey Lucas. I'll tell you that. Experiential design degree. Let's get back to that. So where are you going to now that you're in management? So last year you did not do management. You basically did like probably code management. Like you really didn't have a leadership. You had a leadership role, but didn't have a leadership role. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
But now you do.
Now I do. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about that. I want to know, because obviously I'm sorry, but Sundry's not perfect. So no company's perfect. It's the point of this. What are you going to do better for your guys and girls in regards to the experience, the rep experience moving forward with systems, processes, and getting them trained and equipped to be able to go out there and be what I call and what I train to do is become a self-sustainable Golden Door award-winning sales rep. You should write that down. If not, I'll text it to you, because that is everything boils down to, no matter what we do, everything boils down to, is this going to make a self-sustainable Golden Door award-winning sales rep? So that being said, Jameson, what are you going to do better than your office did this previous year with now your teams?
So a big thing that I'm focusing on this year is being more intentional about who we're bringing on into the office. The manager, he was great in the market that we were in, and I helped him with a few things during the year with setters, and ran a few of the meetings. But and so he did the majority of the recruiting, and it came to the point where it was like April, and we had like less than 10 setters in the office, and we were one of the very smallest offices in the entire company, and which was fine. We had a good ratio of setters to closers, but a lot of these other teams in the company had 30, 40 guys, and so we were in a very good market, and so historically we have had bigger teams in that area. So we were to the point where we were a bit desperate and bringing on like whatever rep that could walk or talk. And so we would ask
You
people,
want to make $200,000 this summer?
yeah, I was asking people on Walmart. We were asking friends of friends to bring people out for the summer, and we were just putting together this team of just kind of misfits. And it ended up being the vibe and the culture wasn't there. It was off the entire summer. Going back to the core values that Synergy is all about, that wasn't present this last summer. And despite that, we were still able to have like high performers on the team. One of the top setters in the company, he was in our office, and then of course I was able to get the golden door, which was awesome. But just that whole summer, that whole unity and culture was off. So this year, my co-manager and I were being more intentional about who we're bringing on to our team. We're being more selective and finding people that have like-minded visions like us, people that are very determined. We're not just picking up Joe Schmo off the street, but if they're not the right fit, they don't fit like our team, then we're not extending that invitation. So that's one thing that we want to change. Also, one thing that we want to change is be more intentional just all throughout the day, because at 2:00 that's when our setter meeting is, and then at 3:00 they're out on the doors and they're working. But we haven't focused as much as what happens off of the doors. And so that's one thing that I myself have been working on in the off season, is setting a better routine for myself, and from my experience in the off season, applying it to my own life. That's what I want to share with everybody on my team. Like, if you implement this, if you set that morning routine and you are hitting all of the different aspects, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, if you're hitting all of those aspects in your morning, then by the time that you're on the doors, you're able to give 100% at what you're doing. And that's one thing that was a big struggle that I had this last year, is like, I just went out and grinded. That's all I really did, is just, I went to 3 or 4 appointments a day. I closed deals, went home, and didn't spend a lot of time with my wife. The morning was the same. I get up, I look at my phone, I answer text messages, I respond to customers, and that was my whole entire summer. But this year, I need to focus more on dedicating time to myself. And then also when I'm with my wife and when I'm with my son, like, that time is going to them. And I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not responding to calls, like, that time is for them. But when it's time to work, like, I'm going to give it my all. That's my time to work. When I put on that name badge, that's special to me. And that just kind of a call to go to work, to get up and go to work.
Put on that badge and you're good to go. Yeah, that's it's funny. I still wear a badge, and I wore a badge all the way till I hung up my cleats, and it's funny because it was towards the end of my career, I started realizing I was knocking doors like 3 weeks ago, so I still will knock doors with my clients, but.
Awesome.
When I was full, 7 days a week, 6.5 days a week, selling solar, running companies, when I put that badge on, it just was a different Mikey. It was it was a thing. I think that's as far as a routine goes, because you said routine, so you do use a badge, taking on the badge, taking off the badge. Now, question: do you think, now this is just a little as a question, do you think that you will keep your badge on when you get home if you're still going to be doing work, or are you taking the badge off when you walk in the house?
I actually just leave it in my car. When I get into my car, that's my cue. Like, I'm going to work. Like,
now here's my question. Now, I agree. I get that. I 100% agree. Now, what about while you're in the house? Because it sounds like you're still working in the house.
Sometimes, yes. I'll be on recruiting calls. I need to respond to some customers. And my wife is understanding of that, but I guess
Teach me your ways. How do you do that?
so
We'll get to that later.
yeah, I take off the badge, I walk in the house, I give my wife, my son a hug and a kiss, we eat dinner, spend time with one another, we read together, play together, do whatever. And she is understanding that I do need to take calls every once in a while, which is fine. But again, like I guess I'm not, once I take off the badge, I'm just kind of not in that work mode anymore. But I realize that I need to be there for people. I need to be there for my customers. And so I am willing to take their calls, take their texts, but at the same time, know that my priority right now is my family.
And here's why I say that. I'm not talking about the one-offs, the one-off call, the one-off, and I don't mean by one-off because it technically happens all the time, but the one-off calls, the one-off text messages, like the random, like, fill in the gap text message that you just answer back because you're just hanging out, like your son's hanging out, your wife's doing her thing, and you're just, they're all there, but you can answer back to a client or a rep. I'm talking about here's what I started to do. I want you to try this because I think that's, and listeners, I want you to try the same thing here. I want you to try this, Jameson, because I want you to bring your badge in your house. Now, you said you do what, 30 minutes to an hour pretty much every day, I'm assuming, of pipeline management, recruiting, whatever you're doing. Do you do that at a desk?
In my desk, yeah, at the kitchen table,
desk, whatever. Yeah, okay. So you're stationary at somebody, right?
Correct, yes.
I want you to try to put your badge on for that moment as well. And then it's almost like the armor of God, right? Like you take on the armor, put off the armor, right? So as you're walking out, you put the armor on every single day, right? You're going out to war. I want you to almost try to use that because I started doing that. Here's why I say this. Let me just get straight to the point. While we were beating around the bush, my office during COVID was in my house. So instead of me, I had to put on a new character. Like when I'm on, I'm no longer friend Mikey. I'm now the manager, the owner, the top, blah, 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 whatever, right? That guy, Mikey, the problem solver. Mikey knows everything, that guy.
Right.
So
right.
I would always use that lanyard when I would walk out my door. Before I would do that, my door would be shut and there'd already be reps in my house, 7 a.m. And I'm just getting up. I'm like, all right, because I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm working on my desk. When I put that, I would always come out with that on. So anyways, that would be like I would walk because it's funny enough because that's me walking into the office. So I actually didn't have time to drive to the office. That was the office. So that's why I'm saying that if you're working and you're at your desk, whatever, and you're doing your phone calls, try to see if that works and then take it off when you're doing your, it's going to sound redundant, but take it off when you're talking to wife and then put it back on when you're working. Just see how that works. Because if you're talking routine, you have, because remember I was telling you how we have 3 different faces, right? We have the face that the internet sees, the face that whatever, right? The face that your family sees. Almost try to see how that works and just try it, see what happens.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see that because it worked for me very well. And again, it's not that obviously, I didn't run to my room and get the freaking lanyard when a rep would call at midnight, or 11 p.m. I would have it not on my person, but I'm just saying in general, see if that works while you're doing work in your house.
What did it do for you? Like when you continue doing work without the badge on versus putting the badge on when you were doing work stuff? What difference did it make for you?
It made me more focused.
More focused. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason why is because I don't believe in burnout. It made me more focused on doing the task that I was in. So now I'll wear my hat, or I'll wear the specific polo shirts that I have. So I don't wear a badge now with what I do, but a hat will do that for me because, door to door, we all wear hats, right? So a specific hat, when I put the hat on, it's not like I'm going to the gym in this hat. This is my working hat, or these are my working shoes, which is funny. I'd love to jam with you on some incentive stuff, but I used to always do what's called team cleats. So guys, when they would hit that 10 deal mark, we would give them their team cleats. And by team cleats, I mean shoes like this.
Gotcha.
We always did Reebok Nanos, great shoes. But yeah, what it did for me was it kept me focused and kept me aware. There was also a fidget thing on it that I would touch. So it was almost like comforting knowing that like it was it's funny. It was pain. So it's like touching the bottom of a pen like that. This is a metal pen. So like I do that a lot on my thumb and on my fingers. And like, I don't know why, but like it hurts, but it does something for me. I don't know. It hurts like when I press on it.
Interesting.
But it keeps me like, hey man, like slow down. What's going on? What 90, 10, 90% solution, 10% the problem. Yes.
Yeah.
Something just blew up. Now what? How are you going to react? Come on. So
yeah, I think that is important to find something that does ground you when the going does get tough. If a customer blows up in your face, you get an angry phone call, someone slams the door in your face, like you need to have some sort of way to cope with that and to bring yourself back down to a level state. So I like that.
I call those life SOPs. Years ago, I was sitting in a mastermind room in Huntington Beach, California. Santa Monica, where was I at? Huntington Beach? Laguna? I was in Southern California somewhere. And I was in San Diego, actually. I lied. I was in San Diego. And this dude, Danny, got up, Danny Chaves, and he said, he started talking about how he ran his like 9-figure business. And he started talking about all the SOPs that he had. And I didn't even know what SOUP was. I was like, SOUP? SOP? What's that mean? SOP? Right? Standard operating procedures. So what do you do? And I would like to hear kind of what you said. I kind of want to park there for a second because we're kind of talking about that. We're talking about routines, and a routine is a standard operating procedure. A routine is a standard operating procedure. So, and in regards to the original conversation, I feel like I'm Jordan Peterson now. We're doing this long-winded conversation to bring it back to the original question of how are you gonna create a better experience for your reps. I promise we'll get back to that. So, okay. So he was talking about the SOPs, and I realized that like I had no SOPs. So I rose my hand and I was like, bro, like I don't really understand like how to build an SOP. And what he told me was, he's like, look, he basically said, look, if I were to follow you around for 24 hours, I could show you what your SOPs are. You immediately freak out when something bad happens. That's your standard operating procedure. Freak out and then go on Instagram for 20 minutes and avoid the blah, 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 whatever, or whatever that is. Right. Like he just kind of like said like random things at that point. Right. So anyways, in your life SOP, for instance, when the going gets, hard, when the crap hits the fan, what are, I can give you one if you want to hear one of mine first, but what are some of the things, do you have any of those specifics that you would do on a consistent basis that you've written down? If you haven't, I would challenge you and say you should, and all the listeners as well, you should have a note in your iPhone or your Android that says life SOPs. In other words, when this happens, do this. And I don't know why, but it's because one of the reasons why is because a lot of times when I was younger, I felt like I wanted to quit so many times. Quit, whether that was quit life, quit work, quit marriage, quit a relationship, quit being a son, quit being, whatever, quit serving at my church, quit going to work every single day, quit eating good, quit going to the gym, all of it. I wanted to stop all of it at one point or another, and sometimes multiple times for other things. And go back to what I thought was the old life, which obviously was a voice of the enemy. So I created SOPs. So when things happen, remember this. Mm-hmm. For instance, I'll give you one of mine, then we can go through yours if you have any of them. So yeah, when times get hard or when the pressure is on, remember to travel. And that's one of mine. One of mine is remember to travel. And then I'll go back to you and be like, look, when was the last time I traveled? And for some odd reason, there's a mountaintop experience that Mikey Lucas gets when he travels and experiences new things. And it's funny now, my coach, one of my coaches, mentioned to me, he's like, hey man, you need to explore. Are you exploring? He's like, dude, you're like tight, wound up. Like what's going on? And it was funny because like there was a lot of these pressures and going on. It was late last year and end of the year stuff. And we're raising all this money for the energy fund and just launched and something like that. And it was just pressure, right? He's like, hey man, like, when was the last time you explored? Like you needed to go explore. And I was like, I don't know. Coach, I don't have time to do that right now. He goes, yeah, that's exactly the reason why you're like this, because you stopped exploring, because whatever I don't know, because however he says it, the way that my body is set up or something like that, the way that the stars are aligned basically is what it is. It's very sophisticated. I just don't know how to articulate it. The way that the stars are aligned shows that you need to explore more. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started doing that, and I actually put it in my calendar every 2 weeks to go on a 30-minute scooter ride on my Segway and just explore. And I go to a new route every single time. I'm in Houston now, and I'm brand new to Houston, but yeah, it's really cool. So when life starts to get hard, travel. And that could just mean travel to a new area in here and explore. Or it's also like, hey, when was the last time you went to a mastermind? When was the last time you did this? Because that also fuels me up when I go to those masterminds and things like that. So like door-to-door conference, for instance, we were just at, like, that was a huge, like, wow. Like, I'm like so excited about life right now. Is there, Jameson, anything in your life that you currently are doing that you haven't written down or that you have written down that you do when things get hard?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say for me, when the going gets tough, like there's a few things that I'll turn to. I grew up listening to country music growing up in Nebraska, so that's one thing that I turn on, just my Spotify country music station, and listen to music. That kind of calms me down, brings me down to a level state. Another thing is just, yeah.
Question on that. You go next until what kind of country music for you? What works for you?
Anything like Morgan Wallen.
Some like old George Strait, or like because Kenny Chesney? Or are we talking like Luke Bryant or any of these new guys?
More like the newer stuff. Yeah,
cool.
Luke Bryan, Morgan Wallen, Chris Stapleton. Cool. Like those are all great guys I listen to. But that's one. Another one is just like getting my body moving. Like either going like on a walk, if I'm like in area, like I'll just walk around the block, or if I'm close to the gym, like I'll go get in a quick pump, or sometimes even just like going to the church and playing basketball and getting a good sweat. Like that just distracts me from the problems that I'm facing and helps me refocus myself and come back to a more level state that I can have a better perspective on how to handle the issue. But then, I guess that traveling would also be one I would say, because summertime, that's the time to work, to focus on getting as many deals as I can. But come the off season, like I'm still working, but also that's time for me to travel and spend time with family, to go see the world, explore, have new experiences. And so I'd say, travel is also another good one that I have.
I like that. You and your boy Josh, you guys done any you guys traveled at all yet together?
We have. We did a manager retreat out in St. George. He may have told you the story.
He didn't. Did he make you guys go in like your underwear and like in the freezing cold up in snow uphill both ways?
No, we did cave diving though, and that was a crazy experience. But we also,
if you haven't listened to that show, you got to go back and listen to Josh Roll, because you won't get the concept. You won't. This kid's a machine, and Josh Roll, you got to go listen to that episode.
He did break his back jumping a razor on that trip together. We could have traveled to Thailand together as well, but he couldn't go because he did break his back. So that was
sandbagger.
He's a crazy guy. I love him.
So you like to travel. Did you go to Thailand without him?
We did. Yep. That was the top performers trip that we did this year for the company.
Awesome. I like that. Okay, cool. I like that. So you travel, you've got some movement. I think movement is one of the easy ones. So guys, if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, how do I get out of a rut? How do I get out of this whatever zone that I'm in, this feeling that I'm in? I actually had it today, as a matter of fact, Jameson. And I walk outside, and my wife, I walk outside and I walk out of the room, and I go to the countertop, and she's putting groceries away, and she goes, yo, you okay? And I was like, I wanted to be like, yeah, I'm good. What's up? And like do that because I usually do that. And I go, yeah, what's up, baby girl? I'm good to go. I was just in thought, you know. And I go, no, I'm not okay. Actually, I'm not okay right now. He goes, what? Is there anything I can do? Like, what do you good? What's up? And yeah, and then I was like, no, just smile and wave, baby girl. You're good to go. It's just one of those meetings. I was like I was on a firing meeting with my team, and about some other stuff that we had going on, and it just was. I was like, bro, I had to move, and that was one of the easy things that you can do. So, listeners, if you're listening to this and you get in those moments, you just heard it again from another attribute of Golden Door Award winner is that they move. So that's one of the fun things. One of the reasons why I love scootering door to door is because if I ever get told to F off 10 times in a row and it's like really bad, I will just, or 5 times in a row, whatever it is, I'll go for a quick 10-minute scooter ride and just turn on some EDM music or something that's like Eric Thomas, motivational, whatever, anything to get me back in. So I like that you said music and movement, putting the combination of those together. If you're in hood, can do that. I'm obviously in hood, meaning I'm in my office, my house, and I went and I moved. I got out of the chair, even though I had a meeting right after that. Got out of the chair, went outside, talked with the wife, stepped outside. I'm a nature guy now, not now, but I'm a lot more now. In the patio, I can look outside, look at the view. I'm in a high rise, and I can look outside, and I just start doing more dream building. And I say, wow, like this is, look, I'm here. Like you're, how bad is it really? So.
Yeah, never underestimate the power of nature. Just being in nature, breathing it in, enjoying the moment, like that's huge.
Totally agree on that. Okay, let's get back to this experiential thing with your reps. I really want to talk about that. So you went from a bunch of misfits, which be careful because that's my hockey team. We are known as the Misfits, the Vegas Golden Knights. A bunch of misfits. And got to the Stanley Cup, lost in 5-6 games for our first season. Let's talk about your office. What kind of experience, what kind of ambiance, and people we kind of like, oh, that's like our culture or whatever. But like, what is your goal this year? And what have you written down goals? Like, is it there's financial goals? Is there physical goals, spiritual goals, whatever like that with your guys, with your team? Like, what does that look like this year?
So this year, we actually sent out this plan of actions to all of our reps, and we expect them to start planning out before they even get out to market everything that they're looking to accomplish. And we're not just looking at like a number of a financial goal, but we're also looking at like who are they wanting to become. And we plan on doing one-on-one meetings with them probably every week or every other week. So constantly staying in contact with them and keeping them accountable with these goals and making sure that they are in line to reach them. And if they aren't, we'll make adjustments to help them reach those goals. But if they are on track, we're just going to keep cheering them on and helping them get into that state of flow. So that's my part as a manager, is to give them everything that they need to be successful, getting them trained up in the off season, helping them memorize what they need to memorize, also strengthening their mindset, preparing them for and setting realistic expectations about how hard the summer will be. We don't make the kind of money that we do just by doing easy work. You're going to get your teeth kicked in. So we try to set that expectation, get them excited for it, but also set realistic expectations and help them strengthen that mindset. So like we're talking about, when the going does get tough, they know how to respond, how to react, instead of breaking down and then feeling sorry for themselves and then get lagging behind. So
in that case, let's park there for a second. Realistic expectations and helping with mindset. I want you to help me here, because a lot of the Golden Door Award winners are managers or are owners or aspired to be managers or owners, one or the other. Let's talk about the guys that are hitting 50, 60 deals for a second, a year installs or doing half of a Golden Door, right? In any industry that they're in. there's not a very big difference between the Golden Door Award winners and the half Golden Door Award winners. Physically, competence wise, mental fortitude wise, like there's not really that much difference, which is funny. I don't really know why we glorify guys like you, Jameson, and we go, wow, Jameson, you just hit 133 installs. You're a gajillionaire. And oh my gosh, I'll never be able to get to that. Like you're doing 133 installs is more than some offices that I know in the industry. And not that they're doing bad. Their expectations are that, and they don't want to be Golden Door Award winners. So let's talk about this realistic expectations and the mindset you're talking about, because what I think a lot of the managers fail at is we basically recruit solely on you're going to become a millionaire, when most of the people we have these misfits have never even made over 50 grand a year, let alone $100,000 a year, and we're basically teaching them how to make $100,000 a month. So explain to me what kind of realistic expectations, like, you have any word tracks you use? Like, what does that look like? And how do you do that? What's your strategy there?
So when recruiting these guys to come on our team, we let them know that you're going to be surrounded by a team of high performers. And that gives them the expectation that they're going to work hard no matter what. And I always go back to that expression. I can't remember how exactly it goes, but you become the person who you surround yourself with. And if you're surrounded by people that are doing mediocre, that aren't pushing themselves or not going the extra mile, like, you only rise up to the level of that person. But if you're surrounded by a team of high performers, go-getters, going the extra mile, then you're going to see their success, their happiness, and you're going to want to achieve that as well. And so that's one thing that we've established with our guys before them coming out is, hey, look, we see that you are determined, you're very goal-oriented, and we think you're a good fit for this office. But we're going to make this competitive. We're going to make it fun. We're going to make this enjoyable. And you're also going to make a lot of money doing it. And like you were saying, you're a personal development company that just so happens to sell this product. And that's kind of the mindset that we have with our guys as well.
Okay. I like that. How often, because you said in the beginning here a little while ago, you said in the routine, like your morning routine or nighttime routine, or even midday routine, right? You said you're working on your spiritual, mental, and physical. How does that play into how you're teaching right now everyone that you're around on how to up level themselves? In other words, like, yeah, how does that play into with this experience that we're talking about?
For me, I can talk from that perspective, because last year, the year I reached the Golden Door, like, there wasn't any structure. And that's one thing that I'm looking to level up this year. And
oh, really?
It was just eat, sleep, and breathe solar. And that was it. And I was motivated by my goals, by my family, by being the main breadwinner in my family. But this year, I think that's one thing that I'm going to do different. And that's what I'm doing now, is by applying this routine in the off season. I can now come from a perspective and teach these guys, look, last summer I may have done very successfully in sales. I sold a lot of deals, but I also struggled in several other aspects. So my mental health wasn't great. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising as much as I'd like to be. And that part of myself was actually struggling. And that's the side that not a lot of people saw. But this year, I want to have more balance in my life, focus on the time when I'm with my family, also make time for myself, because when I make that time for myself, I'll be able to better provide and be more focused for my customers and provide that better experience that they need.
There it is. I love that. You can't give somebody something that you do not have, right? You do not possess.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need to be giving. I think when people burn out, when managers burn out, when door-to-door guys burn out, golden door guys even burn out. Again, I don't believe in burnout, but this. I don't believe in burnout because I don't have the code for burnout. I play it. I don't have that disc, if you will. I don't have that hard drive to burn out. I have a different hard drive. I have rewired myself to be different. Yeah, there's a there's a lot to talk about there, but okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
one book that really helped me really establish that routine and get that vision was Atomic Habits. Just learning the differences between goals and systems, and then really focusing on those systems that will help me reach those goals. And so,
is there any other, while we're on that topic, is there any other books that you read a lot of or would recommend regarding habit building or sales?
Atomic Habits, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Those are the two that I turn to the most.
You know, it's funny. I've actually never read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People ever.
Really?
Those are 2 books. Yeah, that 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and How to Win Friends and Influence People. I had a lot of negative connotation. There was a multi-level marketing company in my hometown that's like what they read, and I thought these people were like the worst people in the entire world. Love multi-level marketing. I buy a lot of products from multi-level marketing companies. My family's in multi-level marketing, but there was a specific group of multi-level marketing people that were a lot of them that I did not like them and their approach because it was not genuine. And I don't get along with people like that when it's all about, you know, their response to you is based off of, if you're not in their group, you're a nobody. And I'm like, okay, sounds good.
Interesting.
And very interesting. Not a lot of them made it. Very few of them made it out of that. I know a couple guys that made a lot of money doing that, but in that group, but very few did. So it was a destructive mindset. It's too bad. Okay. Atomic Habits. Let's jam on that for like 3 seconds. What are some of like the big takeaways? Atomic Habits. Like, what are the 2 or 3 things that you learned from that book?
Atomic Habits.
And paraphrasing, right? What are the things, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific thing, but it just really helped me change my perspective on how I set goals. Like I'm not looking to set goals to achieve this thing. I'm setting this goal because I'm going to change the system that allows me to be a different person. Because once you reach the goal, like once people reach the championship, like what do they do afterwards? They may not continue the same habits that they did to reach the championship game, but the whole goal yeah, exactly. And so now, like by establishing healthy systems, you're now establishing yourself for the rest of your life. You're building these healthy habits. You're getting rid of the ones that are destructive to your routine, to your success, and you're able to focus on the ones that are allowing you to progress, to advance, to become better and improve. And it talks about the 1%, just getting 1% better each and every day. You end up being, I think it's like 37 times better than when you were when you first started. Leveling up 1% every day.
I'm gonna take the number one quote off of Atomic Habits from Goodreads. It says, I want your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read this part yet, but I'm gonna just read it to you. Ready? Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, But as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. What's your thoughts on that?
That's absolutely true. The actions that you take is a reflection of the person that you are trying to become. So if you're taking actions that aren't allowing you to become the person that you want to be, then those are the types of systems that you need to change. So if you want to achieve a golden door, or if you already achieved one and you want to go for the second one, you have to put those systems in place, and which are actions, are disciplined actions, intentional actions that will allow you to become the person that you're wanting to become.
Why do we think that one single thing will transform our beliefs or will transform our life? In other words, like if we hit the gym once, we're going to lose 50 pounds or gain 20 pounds or whatever. Why do you think our minds are wired that way initially?
Because we don't see the results just after one simple try, one simple action. It's when actions are accumulated on top of each other. And there's a scripture about it. Small and simple things, there are great things that come to pass. And I think that's so true, because one thing, I mean, you do one action and you're not going to get a six pack going to the gym one day, but if you are consistent, if you're diligent and going every single day, making it a habit, then that's when you can achieve those results.
Okay, now let me ask you this from that. How do you keep your guys motivated? Let me ask you this first. Jameson, how do you stay motivated?
It's all about my why. It's going back to the things that make me tick, that are important to me, and it's going deeper than what you've ever been before. And so finding like the internal reasons why you are doing this, like why are you in door-to-door sales? Why are you selling solar? Why are you selling with this company? And if you can figure out what that why is for you, every single time that an obstacle comes your way, there's a challenge, then you will never waver. You will never, one angry customer is not going to get you down, because you know what your purpose is. You know what your why is. You know why you're there, and you're not going to let that obstacle, that challenge, stop you from achieving what you're wanting to achieve or become the person that you're wanting to become. And so it's just digging deep, finding what your personal why is, and then taking intentional actions to, again, help you reach that goal.
What made you, or who did you learn that from?
I took a marriage prep class at BYU, and her name was Tammy. Great professor, by the way. She has a podcast about this, about finding your why. What is your why? And she gave us all bracelets and about finding our why. And there was an assignment that we did on that. And ever since then, that's my perspective has changed. And every single thing that I do, there is a why behind it. And it's not just because I want to do it or I think I can, but there's a reason why I'm doing this, and nothing is going to stop me, even if something wants to stop me from achieving it.
How does one achieve that drive? Like how does one achieve that drive? Yeah.
I think, so, again, it goes back to surrounding yourself with people that are high performers, people that inspire you to be better. And there are guys like Josh in our company that have helped motivate me to be more than what I thought I could ever be. And so also, just it wasn't even last year that I started following people in the solar industry, and I started exploring like what are the top 1% doing, how are they performing, and also that also adds to a level of motivation as well. When I see that I can do what they can, or sometimes I can even do it better, I mean that's motivating for me. I'm a very competitive person. My brother and I were pretty close in age, and we played sports together, and all of those things have helped me become the person that I am today. And I apply that same competitiveness to sales and to solar. And when I see someone else achieving these big numbers, like I also want to be doing that, and I want to be that guy. But at the same time, I'm also becoming the person that I want to be, which is awesome.
Okay, now
So
let me ask. I appreciate you sharing that. That's very. Go back and listen to that if you didn't catch that. You're driving, you're in the gym. This would be one of those moments that I usually say this in every episode. Move it back like another 2 minutes. Go re-listen to this. Jameson, you said proximity, and I looked up the word proximity. There's words like vicinity, accessibility. So for the guys that listen to this and girls that listen to this that are not in proximity, direct proximity with other Golden Door Award winners, and they have the top guy below them hits, like, let's just say they're the top guy in their industry, top guy in their office rather, and they're hitting, let's just say 7 deals a month, right? Bare minimum to be hired at Solar City back in the day, like bare minimum. They're hitting 7 deals a month. And they're pretty much big dog because they're hitting 7, and everyone else around them is only hitting 2 to 4. So they feel like they're the big dog, but then they see guys like you, Jameson, the other 5 guys in your guys', 4 guys in your guys' company, right? Josh, they watch this podcast and they go, well, how do I get there? How do I get proximity? How do I get vicinity? I heard you say one thing you did that might've been a breakthrough for you last year was you started following other guys that are the 1%. You're consuming content, you're being involved you're being in the vicinity, even though you're not with them. You don't even know who they are, but you're in the vicinity of their life. Meaning if these guys can do it, I can do it too. So
yeah.
How important is that to your success in the future and your success in the Golden Door year?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think you necessarily have to be like in the same like office or even in the same industry to have that proximity that you're talking about. There are so many resources out there. There's podcasts, there's videos, there's books. You can learn from the best of the best in the entire world, whatever industry it may be. And if you're in that situation where you are the top person, but you're not achieving maybe the top 1%, I would turn to those people, see what makes these people tick. I've always been super interested in learning like routines of like millionaires and billionaires, and just seeing what habits and routines and actions they have done to reach where they are. And a lot of that I've been trying to implement things that have helped me and the circumstances that I am in now selling solar. And so turning to those resources, turning to those leaders that inspire you, and then just going out and doing the work, making sure that your company does have all the systems, the operations in place for you to hit those big numbers. And then it's just a matter of going out and doing it. Set that precedent for the company. There are records, and they're meant to be broken. And so go out and hit those big numbers. Go out and grind, and you will surprise yourself. There's nothing more fulfilling in life than exceeding a goal that you had for yourself. And if you're able to be the first in your company to do that, that's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. When you guys had 5, how many guys did you guys have last year doing that the previous year, you know?
None.
And now you have 5. I guarantee you'll have more than 5 this year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty badass, dude. That's sick. Well, let me transition. I kind of want to talk to you quickly about your marriage. You said that you've got your wife on board. A lot of the Golden Door guys and guys that are in this industry, they struggle in their marriage, and myself included. And we need to lean more on each other for help and for guidance and for insight to how to be a top performer, and the whole situation of putting on and taking off the badge, and not selling your wife on things, not using semantics and sales tactics on your wife. In some cases with sex, I think you can use sales tactics with your wife. I think I have to do that all the time. Just kidding. Not kidding actually at all. But otherwise, when it comes to things like, I don't know, for instance, where you want to eat at, using things like that or yeah, anyways, like not to use sales tactics with your wife. Mm-hmm. I want to talk quickly about you've been married for 3.5 years. And you guys got a little boy now. So yep. What are some of the struggles that you guys had in your first 3.5, 4 years with you being a top performer now?
Well, first few years were difficult because my wife, she's from Mexico originally, and I'm from a small farming community in Nebraska, and also man, woman. So we're on complete opposite ends of the spectrum here. So first few years, we did a lot of learning about ourselves, and first 3 years, that's when we took advantage of traveling a lot and sharing experiences together, and just bonding and asking each other questions, and yeah, learning each other's love languages. I think that's huge. If guys haven't done that with their spouses, I definitely recommend learning different love languages of your wife. But adding in a child this year, it'll definitely add a different dynamic to our home life. And it's just a matter of staying organized with our time and setting priorities and communicating. And going back to like routines, every Sunday, we are planning our week. And so both of us are on the same page as to what we need to accomplish, what she needs to accomplish, what I need to accomplish. So that way she can help me, she can support me in what I need to do. And now I can also be a support for her and what she's looking to accomplish as well.
Really? Walk me through a little bit of that. Is there something like, how do you, so obviously I think all the guys would understand like, hey, like this is how you can support me, the food, the whatever, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you've done to help support your wife. Like what are some of the things that you guys, is there like specifics you guys talk about there? How do you support your wife? I think that's one of the things that we miss. I don't want to say we become so self-serving, but a lot of times as you know, you have to be, if you're going to hit these Golden Door Awards and you're going to manage, like you have to be self-serving in most cases. But is there anything that you do with your wife to be like, hey, like, like, what do you need? Like, how do you figure that out?
Yeah.
It's like a complex Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. And going back to learning what your wife's love language is, and that may change over time. After having a kid, like she's moved away from physical touch, but last summer, like she was more physical touch. And so being home, being present with her, like holding hands, kissing, like watching a movie together, cuddling, providing her, giving her the love that the way that she likes to be loved. Also like compliments, giving her compliments. I'll write notes to her. Acts of service, that's another big one that she loves. And so doing the dishes when she doesn't, or taking initiative on different chores around the house that she doesn't ask me to do, or helping the baby, yeah, like changing him, feeding him without her ever asking me to do it, and just being that father, being present in the moment. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's still a complex Rubik cube, but
It is, yes. It's a constant battle, and you have to adapt, you have to change, and you have to learn. We're still learning about each other, and we may not ever stop learning about each other, but I think that's just finding the joy in every moment, because you never know like when that last moment can be. So it's just worth it to enjoy the ride, and not make a big deal out of inconveniences and things that come up that may cause conflict in our life.
that's a very interesting statement you just said there. I have had times, and my wife probably won't listen to this far in, so I think I'm safe. I'll probably get this recorded, and somebody's wife's going to send this to my wife. I have had times, she's actually in the other room right now. But I have had times where in the last, I would say 3 months, where I'm like, I do not like this chick. Don't want to be around her. Don't like her. I don't even like her. Like, I don't like her at all. I don't like her. Like, I don't know who this girl is. I didn't marry this girl. I don't know who this girl is. I don't like her. And what's funny is I was in prayer, and I got this overwhelming, like, I guess, vision of losing my wife. And then it went through the kind of I don't know, situation or whatever. It was like, you know, or how it was almost like silly how, if I only had, like, hey Mikey, how would you act as if you only had 5 years left with your wife? You know, let's just say my wife got cancer and died in 10 years, right? Like how would, if I knew that, would I still be upset about this little thing that she does? This little 25-year-old, like, you know, little annoying thing that she does. Like, would I still be, if I knew that she was going to die in 10 years from whatever, right? And the answer is no, obviously. And it's funny because I have what's called I've found out that it's called mortality motivation. I've had the privilege to speak at 4 of my friends' funerals, and I've lost 22 friends and family members in the last 13 years now.
Oh, wow.
And so I've seen death a lot. I don't want to say I've seen it more than people in the military or whatever, but, you know, respect for them. But I have that mortality motivation, and it's an interesting point of view, and it worked. So, you know, God was like, yo, bro, if you lose your chick, like, is it still going to make a difference? And again, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's funny how you have to calm yourself down a lot of times. I do, at least, because I'm like, this little petty thing that I get mad about because it didn't either go my way or whatever. Right. Yeah, I think it was just funny that you said that, because so I'm assuming you have had something like that in your past, like myself, where you've lost friends, family members, or whatnot, that makes you think of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are days that I lose sight of that. Um, like if it was a really tough day, like I may be more on edge, more irritable, and I'll lose sight of that. And then, yeah, being surrounded by people like you, and then also just getting perspective from a spiritual standpoint at church, I think that also kind of helps me bring to focus like what's really important in my life and finding my why. Um, and so next time I learn my lesson, next time that something does come up, like I'll remember, hey, I don't like the way that I responded the last time that she did this, and I spent a lot of energy there was anger, there was resentment involved, and those are all negative emotions, and it doesn't help me. But if I respond this way, then I'll get a much more positive response, and there won't be that tension and that negativity. And to me, it's just making that decision and making that distinction based off of past experience. Like, if I do this, I'll have this result. If I do this, I'll have a better result. And every time now that something does come up, it's a hard day at work. Maybe I didn't close a certain deal that should have been a laydown. And instead of getting angry about it, instead of taking it out on her, I'll give her the time, I'll give her the attention that she needs. And because what happens at work, that stays at work, and that has nothing to do with your home life. But you need to be able to provide for your spouse, for your kids, and give them what they need.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Appreciate you sharing that. That's really deep right there. Yeah, I think that top performers, we have a level of, it's like the statistics, something along the lines of like 50% of marriages end up in divorce, and it's like over 80% end up in divorce if you're an entrepreneur. And I'm going to call that to the light, and as we both believe, the truth will set you free. So bringing stuff like that into the light, out of the darkness into the light, as a conversation with other entrepreneurs and top performers, how do we fix this problem? I do not believe your son Lincoln needs to grow up in a single family home, one parent home, right? I believe it's better for overall long term, better if he grows up in a two parent home, and it's better for the country, it's better for the world.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's just, if you look at the statistics of incarcerations of people that 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 don't have a dad in their life, for instance, and that's something that's super important to me to talk about. So I appreciate you sharing that, brother.
Yeah.
Let me kind of land the plane here. I want to respect your time, and we've gone over a lot. What are Jameson? Everything happened perfectly. Obviously, there was ups and there was downs. But walk me through what your end goal is. Everything happened exactly how it was supposed to be. Like everything, you became that person that you admire. That Lincoln looks up to. He wants to be like daddy. Where are you in 5 years?
It's a tough question. But to me, it's lifting others up and helping them become more than what they could ever think that they could achieve. Whether that's like the reps in the office, that's my wife, that's my son. Like, I want to be that person that brings them up, that uplifts them, that edifies them, and helps them have self-trust, self-worth, and helps them see their potential. That's huge for me, because one of my struggles is I do struggle with self-worth, and a lot of times I do tie that in with performance at work or school. School was tough. I'm not the best at school, so there's a lot of self-worth tied into that. But going to therapy and reading books and turning to these inspiring leaders, like, I'm learning that you can't tie that self-worth to the results or to the outcomes. Like, you are a loved child of God. You are a person. You're a human. You make mistakes. You're imperfect. Your mistakes don't make you who you are. How you respond is the person that you are. How you respond to those mistakes and how you respond to adversity. And so, yeah, for me, just being that person that, because I'm not the most like outgoing, not the most extroverted person, but if I'm able to empathize with someone, if I'm able to sit down with them, laugh with them, cry with them, and bring them up. Like, that's what it's all about for me.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you sharing that, man. It's an honorable thing, bro. I appreciate you share. You still currently go to therapy, or you did therapy or coaching in the past?
Yeah, done couples therapy and have done individual therapy as well.
Awesome. I think it's one of the funniest things that I think our generation, 20 and 30-year-old males, we grew up from our parents, who their parents were World War II Vietnam vets, and they grew up in the hard times, I guess you could say. So it's like there's a lot of PTSD from that kind of stuff with our parents raising them. Hard times in the country, civil rights stuff like that, like really like our parents went through, women weren't even really able to vote back then, in, our parents' times. It was just like a lot of things have changed. And, I think one of the funniest things that is a lie from the pit of hell is that therapy or mindset coaching or personal development, somebody that's, that's what they do. That we should not be around that. Like that makes you weak if you go to therapy. And it's really funny because I think you're weak if you think you're weak. I think you're weak if you think you're weak if you go to therapy. I think the weak people think that. I think only the strong men can understand that they have a problem, right?
I agree. Yeah, I think it's important to, if it's not a therapist, it's having a mentor, having a friend, maybe even like a fellow coworker in your office, just someone to keep you accountable, like share your goals and help them know what your vision is and have them keep you accountable. And that's what therapy does for me. Like, in reality, like I know what I need to be doing, but sometimes I just don't do it. And again, going back to struggling with that self-worth. And so that person keeps me in line, helps remind me who I am. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think everybody should have somebody that they turn to, keep them accountable, help them see from a different perspective other than your own.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one, man. So, Jameson, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to continuing to serve you and follow you this year. I will be out in Florida here soon, so I'll make sure to call you. I look forward to growing a friendship with you and growing with you and watching you raise your son and be the outstanding husband that you are, and be a great leader in your office. And dude, I'm just overall impressed with the type of person that you are. That you can put your head down and keep running. So I look forward to seeing you hit Golden Door again this year. So yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, dude. So Jameson, where can we find you at? I know a lot of what people want and what they need is proximity. Mm-hmm. Whether that's to challenge you from afar or to support you from afar, or both of those, or wide variety of that. Where can we find you on social media?
Find me on Instagram, Facebook. Can DM me. I respond to everybody, and I'm always willing to help. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me. But I really appreciate you, Mikey. Thanks for having me on. And I've been listening to your podcast now for a while and found a ton of value in it. And so just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome. Thanks so much for the value that you do provide.
I appreciate that, bro. I try really hard, man. And I know that guys like you need this, which is why I started this. And yeah, man, I'm excited about it. So any final words for the Golden Door Award winners?
Enjoy the process. Remember what's most important, and don't give up. It's going to be tough, but find your why, understand what it is, discover it, and then we were relentlessly consistent. So that's what I gotta say.
Thanks, bro. Jameson Bennett, brother, appreciate you, man. God bless you. Have a great one, and look forward to following you on your journey again 2 years in a row, back-to-back Golden Door Awards, brother. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
God bless, man.
Thanks, Mikey.